In this video, let's take a look at setting up tables the way we want. We call those the table settings, and reusing those settings in the future in other drawings or other surveys. We're going to take a look at three ways to do this. The first is through drawing templates. The second is through saving and recalling the settings of a table. And the third is sort of a sticky logic, where the last settings I edited are the settings Traverse PC will use for the next table it adds. Okay, so let's take a look at the template first. I've got a drawing here, and I've got a curve table in with chord bearing on 2 lines, chord distance on 2 lines, so the column headings take up 2 lines. And I've got the same thing over here for lot table. Relative error takes 2 lines, linear error takes 2 lines. I've got a border drawn on the outside, a white background, and I've got titles for each table. So if this is the way I'm going to use my tables most of the time, I can simply save that as a drawing template, and then any new drawing that I create from that template will have those tables in it to begin with. Let's do that. So I'm going to go to Tools, Save Drawing as Template. I'm going to overwrite one for Lane County setbacks, so I can create a new template, or I can update an existing template. Now, if I start a new drawing with that template, I'm just going to come into the Drawing Manager and double-click. I'm going to use that template for drawing 3. Traverse PC comes in and adds those tables to that drawing because they were in the template. And it uses the same settings that I stored with that template. So I'm going to add this curve to the table, append to table, and it looks just like it did earlier. Now the nice thing about templates is that I might say, you know what, I don't really need the point table, so I could simply delete that. Okay, the point table is now gone, but I've got the other tables ready to go in that drawing template. If you've got maybe several clients that want their tables done differently, you could simply set up the tables one time for that client, create a template for that client, and then each time you create a drawing for that client, just start with that drawing template. Easy enough. The second option I want to look at is using these table settings and saving and recalling them. And we'll come back to the drawing with all the tables. I'm going to come into this curve table here and double click it, which brings up the table settings. And we've got save and recall down here. And I'm going to say I want to save this particular setting as something. Now I can type in a new setting name and add that to the list here, or I can overwrite an existing one. Okay, and I choose OK now. I'm going to go back into that same place and tell Traverse PC that I want to recall a setting. So we ship Traverse PC with default setting. Here's a default filled setting. Let's open that one up. So it's actually going to fill the background with a beige color. Let's OK that to see what it looks like. I haven't put the column headings on 2 lines, so I just have bearing and distance, but I filled it. So let's go back and choose our original one that we had in here. Let's recall the 2-column header. We're going to see it's not filled, but it has the chord bearing and chord distance. And now we're back to what we had just a moment ago. So each of these tables ships with a default and a default filled. Some of them ship with multi-line settings. And of course, you can adjust those however you want, overwrite those settings, or add new ones. And then I can come into any drawing, go into the table properties, and simply recall those settings that I want for that table. Now the third method that I mentioned was sort of this sticky logic. So I've got a table set up here with multi-line columns, a border, table heading. I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to come in now and add a curve table. Let's insert curve table, and the settings Traverse PC is going to use for that table are the last ones I edited, which happen to be that 2-line format. So I've got a border, I've got a table name, curve table, I've got the formatting that I want for the columns. When I choose OK, that table is going to come in with that formatting the way I want, and I can come in and add a curve label to it, kind of make it complete, and see how that works. Now, one final thing here I didn't put in the list. It's been in here for a while. I can go into any of these tables and leave all the other settings just the way they are, but I can read in the column headings that I've saved. So here I've got one called Curve Table Default. So it's just got bearing distance. So in addition to having the ability to save and recall the settings for the whole table, I can also save and recall just these headings that go into a table. So combined with the table settings, I've got a lot of flexibility about how I get the table settings that I want anytime I want them.